on, I think.
Yeah, so I'm recording it in two different places, Facebook, and it'll go on YouTube as well. So welcome everybody to Coffee Talk. It's Monday here in the United States, Monday morning, and Maria
It's 7:30 p.m. in Bulgaria.
Oh my goodness. Well, there you go. And we thought today we would talk about when you don't feel like showing up, when you feel overwhelmed, and you don't want to do something, and then how heavy that feels, because it felt heavy, right?
Yeah, very heavy, very heavy.
And it's funny when you give yourself, first of all, when you give yourself permission to not do it, that's one thing. And it like takes the pressure off of like forcing yourself, but then you get to choose. And then you go, well, okay, can I really do this? Okay. Yeah.
That's the thing, you gave me the choice. You said, well, if you I would love if you choose to come, but I just still had the choice to not come.
Exactly. And it's interesting. You're not the only person who this has occurred with. I've had other guests where they're like, I don't feel well, I'm too tired, I'm stressed, whatever.
I am.
And I've felt like that too. And I didn't want to do a class. One time I was like so in pain in my back and stiff that I could barely move, but I still showed up. And I remember just being really impressed by Gary, the founder of Access, where he's like, no matter what, I always show up for my commitments. I've made that commitment to myself. It's not necessarily to other people, but it's to yourself. And he said every time he does it, when he walks through the door or he shows up on the whatever it is, this other energy shows up and it gets easier. And it's actually more of a contribution to do it than to not do it.
That's possible. How does it get any better? Yeah, it's really not, when it's a choice. That's the thing. I just in the last few days I had things like I'm obliged to do it, like even this morning I had to get up very early, even if my body in the last nights didn't have enough sleep, and I was also, my body was in pain and stuff, and I had to do it. I had to run to go to a test whole day in, to do stuff, and then when I come back home, I was still with messages and things and to do, and I was like, oh my God. And at 7 o'clock I have this this coffee with you, and I'm like, I can't, no space. And it was like, I'm doing all these things because of my choice, because everybody else is expecting it of me, But then when it was just a choice, then I'm showing up.
Yeah, it's really interesting too, to be the receiver of the information of somebody saying, can I reschedule? I need to cancel. And how I don't go into the upset of that, where I used to. I used to be like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I mean, I've been doing this for many years now. So there have been some times when I just do it on my own. And sometimes when I get this ping to call somebody else. And sometimes I've been getting more and more and more into the space of possibility. Like, okay, what are they going to choose? Do they want to overcome whatever their mental obstacle is or not?
Yeah. But thank you for being this allowance for me.
Yeah.
I also was like, at the last moment, I at least tried to tell you this 2 hours before, like, I'm like, I don't want to tell you in the last moment I'm not joining. And I was like, hey, can we reschedule everything, because I'm not the space, like, but I waited, like, and then when the time, came very close, I was like, no, I can't. I have too many things to do. So
yeah. And it is something that you have
And
to
I
be
didn't want to
energetic.
disappoint you. I didn't want to
Yeah.
disappoint you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. But it's like, I couldn't just say, well, do what you want, like even if it's a text, the energy of what you're being comes through in a text or a post or a voicemail or anything. So you have to be really clear about what your point of view is. And when you don't have a point of view and it's like, well, what are you going to choose? It does give the other person space to make a choice, to possibly change their point of view, or, continue not choosing to do the thing that they said they were going to do. And it's not a problem. So what else is possible?
Yeah. Yeah. Just you had this invitation to me, like, hey, if you want to choose it, you're still invited, like to this a lighter space,
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. I appreciate that. And, I wish more people would function like that. The thing is, I do this even when I don't feel like it. Like this morning, I had a really weird, funky sleep last night, and I was like, okay, I'm not sleeping. Okay, what what things can I run? What clearings? What can I listen to? And I just sort of went with it, and it's like, at least I'm aware that stuff is up. And I remember when I got up this morning, I was like, I'm just aware. And you know how Gary says you're an awareness of awareness unit? Like that's what you are. Your awareness of awareness. So you're just aware of things. You are not the awarenesses that you get. And so it gave me a little bit more space. And then I was just really excited to do this coffee talk with you if you choose to, because I knew I would get lighter. Every time I have conversations with people who are choosing more and who are discovering what else is possible, the tools just expand, sometimes easier than by yourself.
Yeah. And before the coffee, I was thinking, like, what can we talk about? And when I was just about to cancel, to send you a message, hey, can we change it? And then I was like, oh my God, it would be a good idea to talk about overwhelm, because it was right now, like it would be good. Maybe we can change it. But then I spent an hour on the phone with some stuff that I was doing with zero result. So my body really started being really tired, and I was like, no, I'm not for the coffee right now. And then everything changed.
It is amazing. Yeah. Sorry, I keep getting these things on Facebook, but I need to be open to Facebook so I can see if somebody.
Other people saying something? I don't see it. Maybe I can.
No, I'm getting other texts. Yeah, because there's a 24-hour symphony wave starting.
Oh yeah, it was today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You see, a lot of things are going on.
There's a lot going on. And like sometimes when it gets really uncomfortable and you've got all this awareness and you're feeling overwhelmed, I keep going to that first commandment of access. Would an infinite being choose this? And if I'm an infinite being, like what can I not handle? Do I need to even handle it? I mean, can I just be aware of it and just let it sit there? Like somebody else's crying baby, I don't have to handle it. It's not my baby.
Yeah, but we usually, we think it's ours.
Yeah.
It's ours. It feels ours, like, and even if you're like, okay, it's not mine. I know it's somebody else's, but right now it's in my body, like my precious,
Mm-hmm.
like my precious. Mm-hmm. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't want to leave it. It's my precious. It's mine.
So like what are your favorite tools for handling that, for moving beyond it?
well, all of life comes to me with this and joy and glory. And what else is possible and how does it get any better? And for example, this morning I was in a such hurry, and I was, I had to go to the other part of the city, and I had to be there at time. There was a time limit because I had to do a test, and they decided it has to be at that time, And when I did it, and it was like I just like some kind of folded the space, the time and space, and was there just in the second.
Yep. I love that.
I was in the bus and I was like pulling energy, and all of life comes to me with this and joy and glory. And I was there.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting how we'll use it in an emergency situation, but we won't use it all the time. Well, most people don't. Some people do. Yeah. Sometimes it also helps to just like go outside and touch a tree or put your feet on the earth or, expand out, do something that makes you realize that you are greater than this reality. Because this reality is only about limitations. So what beyond this reality can we be? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, I have space and I can deal with this.
Yeah, the thing is, like when we get in this contracted space, it's like not only who does this belong to, it's also like in whose reality I am, and it's not important whose, just to get the awareness that it's not your reality, that this is the matrix. So just expand as a infinite being, and just then you can change it. And you can change this reality, because the reality is so much smaller than you,
right?
When you're infinite being,
you can ask, what is my reality? And it gets you out of. So sometimes when I talk about realities, I use the example of, like a satellite dish and all the different channels that it picks up. And so it'll pick up the trauma drama channel, and it'll pick up, this and that and the other channel and everybody else's stuff channel. And then there's your channel. So if you're stuck in all this other trauma drama stuff and you're like, wait a minute, what's my reality? You just have to get to your channel. And that might mean you removing yourself from whatever space you're in to put yourself in a different space so that you can get the space of you, like going to the beach or going to the forest or something, or just going outside. Usually going outside helps. But if you're outside, maybe it's going inside, who knows? Moving your body.
Right now, when we were having this conversation, I was like aware that a couple of hours ago, when I had, I spent 1 hour on the phone with some stuff from this reality, and I'm like, I was, in this reality of, of limitations, and I was quite in the trauma and drama in the matrix, and it just, and in that moment, because I have so many things to do, I was not present to just ask a question and change it.
I know. When you're really in it, you're like hypnotized and stuck in this like contraction. And then you can ask a question, but it's not really a question because you're coming from your own conclusion.
And I just wanted to quit, I just wanted to quit everything and say, hey, I just want to go to sleep. I need a nap.
I hear you, sister. I've wanted to quit too. And you know what? Sometimes I do that. I just go, all right, I quit. And then it's like giving yourself permission to make a different choice. And then I usually choose it again. I usually don't quit, but you have to give yourself permission to make any choice. And then perhaps you can run those new clearings that are so dynamic. What am I avoiding and what am I defending? And usually one or the other is more like stronger. this morning it was something about what I was defending, defending some problem that keeps showing up in this reality. But if I wasn't defending it, I could create something different. So we keep podpocking all the POVADs.
Good and bad, online shorts, boys, povats, and beyond.
Yeah, let's run a few of those. So whatever thing that you're stressed about, dealing with, trying to make a decision on, whatever, what are you avoiding with that energy? Everything that is, will you destroy and uncreate it?
Yes, please.
Right and wrong, good and bad, POC, all nine shorts, boys, povats, and beyonds. And what are you defending with that energy, holding on to that energy? Right and wrong, good and bad, pot and pock, all nine shorts, boys, povats, and beyonds. And it's funny, usually I ask that question and then within minutes an awareness pops, something. It's like, oh shit, I totally bought into that. Or, oh wow, I'm really holding on to that. And when you can see it like that, you can totally make a different choice.
Yeah, that's it. Wow.
Yep.
And what else is possible?
Yeah.
Now, beyond this reality.
Yeah. It's funny how that question really trips people up. I sent somebody that question, what else is possible? And they're like, I don't understand what you mean.
Oh, they say, well, there's nothing possible because this is it.
Right.
That's it.
What are you defending with that point of view? And what are you avoiding? Yeah. Wow. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I try again to invite them and say the question again and saying, hey, just don't answer. Don't look for an answer. This is just an invitation for the possibilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And if we weren't trying to get something right or finished, like if we were willing
trying to get something right,
everything juggling in the air all the time, that's a better space than trying to lock it down. I'm always trying to lock stuff down. I realize that's something that my mom does. Even before we go to visit her, she's like, where do you want to go to lunch? And where do you want to go to dinner? And are we going to be able to park downtown like next month? So I grew up with that energy, and it's been really interesting to uproot it. It's still like in little places where it's like, oh, am I going to get those tickets? And there are certain things you need to choose and lock it down, like a flight or something. But you will know when, if you trust the awareness that you are.
And that also can change,
True.
For example, last week it was really crazy. I was like having these plans, and they were like every day they were changing. So,
mm-hmm. Yeah,
and they changed in the in a better way. How to say it, in a greater way.
Yeah.
Or everything.
Always be willing to follow the energy. It's so contrary to this reality.
So chaotic. It looks like so chaotic. Oh, yesterday you told me that this day at this time we will have maybe a swap or whatever, but then everything changed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And every day the plans were changing. So
yeah, I was looking at a couple of marketing possibilities for my work, and somebody told me about it. I was like, oh, that's a possibility. And so I clicked and filled out the form, and I was going to register for a couple of different dates. And then at the end of it, it said, if you have to cancel or if something else happens, you don't get your money back. And I was like, ooh, maybe, that like something felt funny. And it's a date in June. And I'm like, is that going to work? So I'm like, that energy that's like, so I just sort of left it over there. I have so many open windows on my computer. The stuff that's like, am I going to choose it or not? And if I don't go into conclusion about, first of all, that that's wrong and I can't make a decision, like that's bullshit. I can make a decision. I just know that there's other questions to be asked. So this morning I was looking at it again before we got on here, and I was like, well, okay, is this even my market? And will this create more for my business? And I wasn't getting a super light. And the other possibility that's showing up is I might actually find another space for a storefront, which I didn't think I would ever choose again. But it's something is showing up, and I'm just asking questions about it and moving in that direction to see, and I wouldn't be able to do both. So what else is possible? And what do we know? And, keeping it all moving up in the air until it actualizes as what we want.
That's right. And don't trying to, and what if we don't try to make it right? In the right way,
Exactly.
What if we are willing to fail?
Yeah. Happy accidents. I mean, not a crash accident, but yeah, just keep choosing. Just keep choosing and not have to have it be right, and just see, well, that didn't work out. Okay, what else?
What else can you choose now? I was trying to make, the right choice before, when I was on the phone and looking on the internet, and I was looking for an accountant, and I was like, I have to find the right, but even after that, I'm not sure what is the right one, yeah, I know, but it's, what if it's just a choice and I can always choose something else?
It's so funny how we try to really scrunch our reality into a right or wrong choice. Yeah. Like, wow, that's an interesting thing to do to ourselves. What are we avoiding with that?
Happiness. Because when you're always trying to be right, you're like, you never can be happy, because you're just always fighting for the rightness of your point of view, or just to do it right, the right way. So it's always a fight and never just happiness.
Yeah. I love when I get to that space of no point of view, and it's like, okay, whatever. All right. And sometimes it drives other people crazy though, because they're like, well, what do you want to do? Oh, doesn't matter, But I love being in that space, because it doesn't really matter. And when something does matter, it's like, oh shit, I have lost the space and I've turned into this heat-seeking missile of conclusion.
On Sunday, I was explaining somebody, the way to live in 10 seconds. And he was like, you cannot be, like in 10 seconds. I say, why not? And giving an example that somebody time ago called me like, I'm so inconsistent. And I don't think I'm inconsistent. And I gave an example what the other person is doing, like, and this person told me, well, the other person is consistent in the inconsistencies, what he's doing, but you're like changing all the time your mind. This is inconsistent, like, I'm like, oh, I think this is freedom. So if I can always choose something else, then I have the freedom to, to stick with the same thing, or just for an hour, minutes, or a days or weeks, just choose something else, and then choose the same thing back, or not.
Yeah. I mean, it really is about being present. And I think some people use the 10-second tool as a way to
Avoid this reality.
well, it's almost like to not commit to their reality. And so it's not about, well, oh, I'm going to do this for you. No, I'm not going to. It's not light anymore. It's like, that's not the 10-second.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what I'm trying to say.
Being an
Not
asshole.
just, yeah, that's not that I'm with you and now I'm not. No, it's just to know that you have the freedom to be or not. And
right.
This is not, like that because of this I'm inconsistent, always changeable. And if we don't change, this is a debt, if you don't change. We change all the time.
Exactly. That's and that's what they're looking at more now with access. It's less about right and wrong, good and bad, and it's more about stay the same or change. That's where the dynamic difference is. And so we are going to be made wrong for changing, not whether it's right or wrong, good or bad, but just because we're changing.
Yeah.
So what is your reality? And, what would it be like to commit to it, even if other people make you wrong for changing? Changing and doing the right thing and being happy.
Oh, since little, I've been made wrong, for just being different and choosing different things. So,
yeah. Yeah, I wonder who hasn't. Who hasn't? What
maybe somebody that never wanted to change and it just being what people are expecting from him or her.
Yeah. So what is possible now?
There are also people like this, they do what is expected for them since little, like.
Yeah, I did that on the outside.
Yeah, I mean, we all have done this some way, but I think in the last few years we chose something else, and but yes, when we with my family or with friends or stuff, like I'm so different now, but still, like when I'm with them, I can feel it in my body, like I'm getting into their reality,
Yeah,
and trying to fit in again. I never did before, so
what
how can I do it now?
From? It's like trying to make them feel comfortable.
Yes.
So if we were willing to try to make them feel uncomfortable, we wouldn't have to change us.
That's right.
So Gary would always say, don't try to be nice. Everybody's trying to be nice. Try to be mean. Not be mean, but like we're so used to trying to change and fold and staple ourselves to make other people comfortable and be nice. But that's not very kind to us.
And also for others, because with our with our example, we can show them that we can invite them to change too.
Exactly. Wow, it's already the end of the half hour. Oh my gosh.
It is.
Boop. So yeah, I'm going to go do my expanding exercise in the Finding Your Sparkle group. So whoever would like to join, pop over there. And thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for choosing in 10 seconds.
thank you for inviting me and for keeping inviting me until the end. Like
And
you
hopefully
didn't
you
give up.
feel lighter and less tired than you did before.
Yes, I'm less tired, but now it's like my body is like, okay, is it now to have a little bit of nap, please? Can we?
Yeah.
Yeah, I will give my body now a little bit of nap and then go on with
Wonderful.
all the stuff I still have doing. Thank you, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mwah. Thanks, everybody. See you next
Bye
time.
bye.